What is your type on paper?
What would you say is your type? Like, am I your type? Like on paper?
What's your type on paper?
Definitely my type on paper, don't worry.
So what's your type on paper then?
What's your type on paper?
Welcome back to Your Type on Paper.
Find out which puppy is my type on paper.
You can't watch Love Island without hearing some version of My Type on Paper, especially in the UK series. The phrase has become so recognizable that it started escaping the villa and making its way into everyday conversations. But have you ever stopped to wonder why on paper keeps getting tacked onto the end? Why don't we just say my type? As a linguist, I think those two little words are an absolute treasure trove. And that's exactly why they deserve an Urgent Lickings tasting.
Urgent Lickings. Urgent Lickings.
Welcome to Urgent Lickings. I'm Sofie, your applied linguist, and I practice public linguistics. On this channel, we don't rush through ideas, we taste them. So what are we tasting today? My type on paper. Today's literal popsicle is chalkberry butter power pop. Say that 8 times fast. Chalkberry. That wasn't even one. Chalkberry Chalkberry butter power pop. Chalkberry butter power pop. Okay. Like me, it is gluten-free, dairy-free, low sugar, and high protein. As you can see, all of the ingredients are intertwined. There's no distinct layering at all. Is this foreshadowing today's topic? Perhaps. Let me know in the comments below. And while you're there, go ahead and like and subscribe. It lets me know that you enjoy what I'm doing and you want to see some more of it. You can also find the recipe for this chalkberry butter power pop in the description box. Now let's get to our metaphorical popsicle of the day. When you first hear this phrase, your brain does something kind of funny. Or at least mine does. It imagines a literal piece of paper. Like somewhere there's a clipboard with little boxes getting checked off one by one. High ceilings? Check. Bay windows? Check. Central heating? Check. Wow, this apartment is everything I'm looking for. I mean, on paper. Love Island works exactly the same way. We imagine each contestant walking onto the show with some imaginary checklist tucked away in the back of their minds.
Obviously tall, obviously very good looking.
Tall, brunette, brown eyes. Tall, dark, and handsome. Here we go.
Whatever their checklist is, they're sizing each other up the moment they walk in those doors. Do I think they have an actual checklist? Probably not. I mean, some might. Okay, but let's be honest. They've all been cast on television. They're all objectively attractive people. So why doesn't checking every obvious box guarantee a connection?
You were perfect. You're everything I want in a guy. But I want to stay in my couple with sincere.
She is literally my type on paper. But we all know my situation with Lana, and do I want to be back in trouble? I don't think so.
Ask literally anyone you know what their type is, and they're usually going to start with the easy stuff. Tall, funny, brunette, kind, whatever it is. But after you've gone on a few dates, you've dated a few people, you realize there's this whole other side of your checklist. Oh, maybe one you didn't even know you had. So when somebody says you're exactly my type on paper, what they're really telling us is every visible box got checked, but something still doesn't fit. Something's not right.
I've with like beautiful guys before and they have not got a brain.
Yeah.
Like it's boring.
So why not say it that way? What are those two little words on paper actually doing here? Let's nibble those corners. Well, linguists would say on paper is acting as a qualifier. A qualifier is a word that doesn't exactly undo what you've just said, but it does reshape it.
I'm not your type, like on paper.
Never was ugly. Like, oh my God.
Think about the difference between this restaurant is good and this restaurant is good for airport food. The core statement is still technically true, but the qualifier quietly changes how you interpret it. It narrows it, it reframes it, and sometimes even undermines it. In the case of you're my type on paper. The qualifier tells us, yes, you fit my idea of what I should want or what I think I want.
But the question is there enough banter? Do you know what I mean?
Another linguistics concept closely related to qualifiers is a strategy called hedging. Hedging is when we soften our commitment to what we're saying with words like kind of, sort of, maybe, probably, or I think. Imagine the difference between saying you're wrong and I think you might be wrong. The second version creates a little more room for the conversation to continue. We hedge all the time, not because we're weak communicators, but because we're social creatures. Sometimes certainty sounds arrogant, while uncertainty sounds collaborative. Hedging can make us more polite or simply less confrontational. Editor Sofie here. I just wanted to make a connection for clarity's sake. On paper is a hedge because it gives the speaker an escape hatch. It softens their commitment to someone being their type. It lets them acknowledge that somebody checked off all of their expected boxes without committing to the conclusion that they should be attracted to them or that they should have chemistry or that it should work out between them. In other words, it leaves room for reality to disagree with the checklist. Neither qualifiers nor hedges are inherently good or bad. They're tools. And just like any tool, their impact depends on how we use them. Sometimes they protect people's feelings. Sometimes they help us navigate uncertainty. But they can also quietly diminish someone's achievements or create unnecessary distance. Think about phrases like, she's really successful for someone her age, or that's actually pretty good for beginners. Each of those statements begins with a compliment, but the qualifier introduces a comparison that subtly changes how the compliment lands. Instead of simply celebrating someone's achievement, it frames it against a lower expectation. That's why it's worth paying attention. Not so that we stop using qualifiers or hedges altogether, but so we become more aware of the work that they're actually doing. But wait, there's another layer to this.
I'm not a conservative, but because he is like my type on paper.
My type on paper isn't just a qualifier or a hedge. It's also part of Love Island's own little dialect. Every community develops its own favorite phrases, and Love Island is no exception. Contestants don't go for a talk, they pull someone for a chat.
Now can I pull you for a chat?
They're closed off.
Happy okay, I'm closed off.
You said you were closed off?
And of course, inevitably, someone is my type on paper.
You're definitely my type on paper.
Over season after season, these expressions become part of the show's vocabulary. Once a phrase becomes normal in a community, people don't have to invent new ways to say the same things. They can reach for the language that's already familiar to them, it's already understood, and it's already socially acceptable within that community. That's actually one of the beautiful things about language. Communities create shortcuts together. But Love Island isn't just any community. It's also a television show. And most contestants know that they're speaking to more than just the person in front of them. They're speaking to millions of viewers, and in many cases, potential sponsors, brands, future employers, future followers, and every awkward conversation is happening on camera, 24/7, part of the public record. They become like a socially safe script. This next section is focused on how this phrase can be used as a precursor to rejection. I know it can be used to talk more generally about people's preferences, or even to express initial interest in someone, but I'm fascinated at how it's used as a setup for rejection. Melanie on season 8 is a great example of this strategy. So the big question is, why don't contestants just say there's something missing? Well, because humans are generally terrible at rejection. Most of us want to be honest, but we also don't want to hurt someone's feelings, damage the relationship, or make ourselves the villain. Linguists have actually spent decades studying this balancing act. And one of the biggest ideas to come out of this work is something called face. Like,
they'll regret the fact that they were wrong about you, but they can't rekindle anything with you because they got to save face.
It's actually a linguistics term. In linguistics, face refers to the social image that we're all trying to maintain. It's the desire to be liked, respected, and treated with dignity. Every conversation we have is a little negotiation between saying what we mean and protecting everyone's face along the way. That's exactly what makes "you're my type on paper" such an interesting phrase. The speaker shifts the explanation away from the person they're rejecting and toward the situation itself. They're essentially saying, "This doesn't make sense to me either. According to everything I thought I wanted, you should be a perfect match for me." Whether that's actually true or not, but linguistically speaking, it's pretty clever.
You were perfect. You're everything I want in a guy. But I want to stay in my couple with sincere.
It allows the speaker to reject someone while still acknowledging they have desirable qualities. In other words, they're trying to save the other person's face. But here's where things get a little messier. Language doesn't just communicate information. It also invites us to read between the lines. If someone said to you, "You're just my type, you're 100% my type," on paper, most of us wouldn't stop at the literal meaning. I wouldn't. We would immediately be asking ourselves, okay, what went wrong? In linguistics, this is something called implicature. Implicature, a meaning that isn't directly stated, but is strongly, you guessed it, implied, suggested. The speaker never actually says there's no spark, but that's exactly what most listeners end up understanding. And that's why this phrase can feel so comforting to one person and so frustrating for the other. On the one hand, it softens the rejection by acknowledging someone's positive qualities. On the other hand, it can leave the other person wondering what invisible box they failed to check off. What was missing? Sometimes the answer is genuine chemistry, maybe timing. Sometimes it's just a polite excuse. And sometimes, let's be honest, sometimes people just don't actually know what they're looking for.
I would like to couple up with a guy who's exactly my type on paper. He's got tattoos, he's got really great banter, he's proper fit, but at the same time, I'd go with anyone, so you.
Okay, up until now, we've been looking at this phrase from one perspective. What if "you're my type on paper" isn't actually about protecting the person being rejected? What if it's actually about protecting the speaker? Think about it. Saying, "I'm not attracted to you," it's a little bit harsh, doesn't make me look so good. I am not really saving face. Saying, "I don't like your personality," sounds even worse. I'm a total villain. But saying, "Wow, you're so my type" on paper shifts the focus from my choice onto some mysterious force beyond me that neither of us can explain. I'm as shocked as you are. It's not "I'm rejecting you," it's something just isn't clicking. Whether that's consciously intentional or not, it allows the speaker to preserve an image of themselves as thoughtful, reasonable, compassionate. No. They're not the villain. They're just as confused as everyone else. Our stated preferences and our actual preferences aren't always the same thing. And that's one of the reasons why I love this phrase so much. It accidentally reveals a much bigger topic. We tell stories about why we make the choices we do, but those stories are only part of the picture, or maybe they were justifying the picture. My type on paper becomes this linguistic window into the gap between what we believe about ourselves and what our behavior reveals.
I have been out with people that aren't that good looking, so it's not really a big deal because, like, I feel like personality shows sexiness as well. So I've been out with someone who I thought was so ugly, but then his personality made him look so sexy. It was crazy.
Language has this incredible ability to make us think we're saying one thing while quietly communicating something else. That's not because we're manipulative or dishonest. I mean, some people are, most of us aren't. Most of the time, it's actually because we're just trying to navigate being human. We want to be honest, but we also want to be kind. We want to express uncertainty without sounding completely incompetent. These little phrases, they're helping us walk that tightrope every single day. So this week, my challenge for you: listen for qualifiers and hedges. In other people, yes, but also in yourself. Notice when they're softening a conversation. Notice when they create space for someone else's feelings. But definitely also notice how they could diminish someone's accomplishments or shift responsibility. Don't judge them. Just be curious. Just ask yourself, what is this phrase doing? What is this phrase doing in this moment? Who knew we'd get all of this from Love Island? But as linguists, we know it's often the tiny, forgettable words that carry the heaviest emotional load. I'm Sofie, your applied linguist, and thanks for joining for my first ever Urgent Lickings tasting. If today's topic gave you something to chew on, or just something to lick before it melted, I'd love to have you back for the next one. Please like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing. I am hoping to grow this channel, and I'd love to have you along for the ride. Bye. Ooh, check her out. First homemade popsicle of Urgent Lickings. Okay, how does this work? Ooh, aha. There we have it. Okay. And a power pop for sure. Ooh. I don't know about that. I taste the protein. Can't exactly nibble the corners, can I? Man, there are literal peanut chunks in there. Hope I don't chip a tooth. Well, let's hope this is the first of many and that it's up from here. I don't know if I recommend this one. If somebody wants to recommend a better dairy-free, gluten-free, low-sugar, high-protein pop for me in the comments below, that would be greatly appreciated because obviously this is the first time I've done this. Peace out.